So we're looking at stress through a different lens that we normally look at. We're looking at stress as something that actually is an opportunity to awaken, to expand our consciousness, to be more connected, and to step into the evolutionary stream of our own evolvement by using stress as a portal or a window. And I'm particularly going to talk about that today and give you some of what's behind it. But I just want you to know that the course that we're going to be talking about later, that most of you have seen somewhere, the stress, transforming stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, is also very practical, down to earth. Somebody asked me the other day, we were talking about all the what's underneath the course. And, we'll have very simple exercises, movements, even diet and things like that in the course itself. But right now, we want to talk about what's behind it and how to get underneath that. And that's why I'm doing a little longer and a little different meditation with you tonight. So you can actually take something that's stressful in your life and work with it. And so we will be doing that in about half hour, 45 minutes, once we talk about, what's this stress thing all about. And so, we talk about the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, and that's definitely a pandemic, but the invisible pandemic is stress. And I wanted to read you some statistics to give you a sense of this pandemic of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm that's happening. This is North America. So if you're in Europe or somewhere else, it doesn't necessarily apply, but it's pretty much the same worldwide. That 33% of the population of North America, adults and children, experience a feeling of extreme stress, a third. And that 77% of the people experience stress that affects their physical health. 73% have stress that impacts their mental health. 48% of the people have trouble sleeping because of stress. And stress is the number one health concern, get this, among high school students. Stress is the number one health concern of high school students. 80% of the people in North America feel stress at work, and global stress has increased in the last year since COVID, 25 to 30%. And that the biggest thing, of course, is that stress, medicine reports that stress is 75 to 90%, has something to do with 75 to 90% of all illness. So this is not a class about how do I get rid of stress. It's really an opportunity to discover a path of healing personal, cultural, and ancestral wounding that's at the heart of the suffering, the self-doubt, and the behavior, the habitual behavior that we call stress. That's really a block to our creativity and our self-expression. So what we're looking to do in this course that we're doing later and in this class, online class, is how do I learn to use stress and the challenges in my life to manifest evolutionary growth and transformation, a much larger view of stress for myself and for the world. And so we're going to look at how can I turn these stressful situations, these problems, issues, difficulties, opportunities that I'm up against as opportunities for greater growth and expansion in my life. And we talk about stress like we actually know what it means. And I want to have us really question this word stress. We have a mental concept, but it's a label that actually hides what's really going on more than telling us. It doesn't give us access. The dictionary says stress is a mental state or an emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or demanding circumstances. So think about that definition. That definition cannot, first of all, help you in any way figure out how to get rid of stress. But secondly, it's focused on the external circumstances as the purveyor of stress. And I want to say that right up front, stress is an inside job. It's like God. It's an inside job, that it's actually a portal for possibility. And when we use this interpretation, there's no opportunity for altering the outer world, because change really starts on the inner world. It's kind of like saying, I'm sick. Okay, you're sick. Well, what does that mean? Do you have a cold or do you have stage 4 cancer? It doesn't describe anything. So stress is a kind of phantom word that obfuscates or obscures the underlying cause and the internal issues that are behind this pandemic. And it's so weird because, I talk to a lot of people, obviously, in my work. I'm with people all day long on the line, and I'll say, well, how are you doing? And they'll say, oh, I'm so stressed. And when I hear this, and I hear it in my own head, but I also hear it when people are talking, it's almost like it's competitive. Yeah, I'm really overwhelmed too. I've got so much stress. And yeah, I had to go to the doctor and I'm taking these pills. And yeah, and it like escalates. So we're actually creating stress by talking about our stress and comparing our stress to somebody else's stress. And it's in some ways humorous, but it's not. It's a real problem. It affects our health and our well-being. So what is stress really? Stress is saying something. It's saying something is too much, right? When I say I'm stressed, I'm saying something is too much. Well, too much what? It's too much for my current capacity to meet the challenges and difficulties that I'm currently facing. So it's about capacity. Our current capacity is insufficient to meet the challenges and difficulties that we're facing. So the issue is really a capacity issue. How can I alter my capacity? In other words, how can I expand and grow so that I can hold more in my life rather than trying to shrink and make myself smaller to fit the stress around me? How can I use stress as a portal, as a doorway, and access to personal and relational and global health and well-being? So basically what I'm saying is that stress is resistance to what is. It puts us in a place of being with what should be rather than what is. So we spend a lot of time saying, thinking that I'm stressed because I'm not this and I don't have that and I'm not here and I should be. But it's not about what we should be. The first step to dealing with stress is to presence and get underneath this phantom word we call stress and look at capacity. Well, how much capacity, how much life can I actually hold? And each of us has a certain capacity, a certain ability to hold so much. And it's dictated a lot by epigenetics and genetics, but more familial, ancestral, environmental, cultural beliefs and early experiences are all there. All things from what? All things from the past. So what fills up our experience and reduces our capacity are these unexperienced experiences from the past, things that weren't integrated, things that weren't digested at the particular time because of excessive fear or danger or, overwhelm. So the thing is that that's not bad. That's not a problem. In fact, it's a gift, because what happens is that my nervous system, which has evolved over hundreds of thousands of years, it's not a mistake. My nervous system is vastly intelligent. And it says, hey, that's too much. And if that happens, you won't handle it. You won't even get through this. There's this feeling of I'll die if I have to, if, it could be a divorce of my parents, or it could be, not being recognized, not being held, not getting a breast. There's so many issues where I cry and I'm taught, and my parents are told, oh, let the baby cry. So the baby cries louder and louder and louder. The baby, cries louder and louder and louder and screaming. And the parents are probably going, oh, I want to help them. But the book says, Dr. Spock says, no, I can't do that. So I got to let it. And then there's rage and anger that the baby's screaming for help. This is all where the nervous system says, no, nah, if you scream one more time, you're going to die. So I'm going to suppress this part that's so scared, that's so wanting to be touched. I'm going to suppress it down so you can keep on going on. That's what happens in it. So this intelligent nervous system that we have hears the distress signal and acts to protect you, and hides a part of your past frozen into your body. It's in your body. It isn't out there somewhere. So then something comes along, a stressful situation for me. I just had one with computers, Okay, I look at my computer. I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's broken. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. Oh my God. Well, wait a minute. I stop. I put my feet on the floor. I go in. I look. What's going on here? I'm overwhelmed. How old is that? That's about 3 years, 4 years old. What's going on? Oh, I couldn't get the thing that I wanted. And so I said to myself, I can't do this. This is too much. Computers are too much. Anybody have that experience? Computers are just too much, and you have to really bring yourself back. But no, it's not about learning how to be better with using the computer. It's about creating more space for the 3-year-old that said, this is too much. I can't take this. And so we create space through presence and other ways I'll talk about. And we breathe into it and we say, oh, it had an age. It had a what happened. And that allows me to have more inner space, a larger. So then the incident starts to come up and it integrates and it digests, and we create a greater capacity to hold stress. So every stressful moment is a portal. It's an opportunity. And it takes a lot of energy to hold these things down, these things from the past, this frozen past in our body. It's like if I had a beach ball in the ocean or in the swimming pool and I was holding it down, you know how much energy it would take? It takes a lot of energy because the ball wants to come pop back up, but I have to keep it held down. Well, imagine that you have 25 beach balls that you're holding down with your feet and your arms and your legs, and you're holding all these down. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy it takes. And that's basically what's happening. You're holding down. So you have a reduced capacity. And it literally feels like, when you're stressed, if you really pay attention, it's like I contract, my inner self contracts. And, I feel like I'm floating in space. But we want to learn how do I ground myself so I can allow these things to come up, so I can gain the energy that I've been using to hold them down, and I can integrate them into my body, which gives me greater space. So we become less fragmented because all of these things fragment us. We become less stressed. We become less overwhelmed and anxious. But we have to see it as, oh, I'm stressed. There's a signal for me to do my inner work now. So healing stress, and I want to be clear, when I say healing, I'm not saying fixing, because I don't think anything's broken. There's nothing about you or me that needs to be fixed. Like I said, it's the intelligence of the body that put it down. Healing comes from expanding our awareness from the outer world to the inner world, to the inner body experience. So when I'm experiencing stress, how does that feel in my body? How does it feel in my body? What are the emotions that are coming up right now? If I can stay with it, feel the emotions. What are the thoughts that are coming up? Those are clues for me to find and repair these unintegrated parts of myself. So the real work in being stressed is to notice it, to become more aware, do what I call presencing, and to become aware of the stories that I'm telling, because all of those are clues to wholeness, which is healing. Healing is wholeness. And we become more aware of our interior life, which most of us are not very aware. Most of us are not quite fully in our body. Most of us feel our emotions in our mind, which is not feeling your emotions. I distinguish emotions as something in the body from feelings that are something in the mind. That doesn't mean they don't create the same kind of chemical reaction and same kind of physical things, but you can be angry in your head and never actually complete that anger. You know, people who run around their anger, or where they're sad all the time, or where they're anxious all the time. You know, that's because they didn't have an opportunity to integrate those aspects of themselves. So by transforming our inner world, we experience a greater sense of the outer world. And, you know, we think that our perception is reality, you know, that what we see is reality. But actually, what we perceive, our reality is given to us by our perception. So if your perception is this big, this is how much reality you see. If it's that big, you see a little more. If it's that big, you see more reality. But it's completely dependent on the story, the narrative that you have made up about who you are. I am a this, I am a man, I am a woman, I am an accountant, I'm a lawyer, I'm a father. All of these have certain restrictions to them because when we name something, we close off the potential of something. When we name it, we close down the potential. So what we consider reality is about our identity, and our identity is shaped by our past experiences. So we're kind of always living into our past that way, which is why we get stuck in stress and anxiety and overwhelm, because we had stresses and anxiety and overwhelm in our past that never were resolved. And the thing to recognize is stress is not about the situation or the event. It's not about that. It's a trigger. It's an unwitting reminder of something from the past that shows up in our body and in our emotions, but it's a story that we made up about it. And by the way, our story, our narrative, has only one purpose. The only purpose for our narrative, what do you think that is? The story is after one thing: its own survival. Your story wants to survive. It wants to keep on going on because it's familiar. So when I'm talking about looking at these things as a portal or an access, you're coming up your story, your unconscious mind, that, by the way, is a million times more powerful than the prefrontal lobe, the new brain. So you have to really presence yourself and become aware of the interior life, the interior world. These triggered events from the past, it looks like and it feels like it's happening now, and it's happening to me from out there, from my boss, from my wife, from my child. But it's not, has nothing to do with that. It's just triggering up a reminder. Oh, there's a lot more to this story. There's a lot more, and you can get a lot more expansive and learn a lot more by actually putting your feet on the ground, feeling your body, feeling your emotions. Because when we're increasing our capacity is space, and you can feel it. You can literally feel it in your body. You know, times when you feel expansive and joyful and just grateful for life, and it's a beautiful day and the sun is out, and you can feel that, and you can feel like, oh, I hate this job, I hate this work. Your body just kind of contracts like that. Why can't I do what I really want to do? I feel trapped. And so space comes from inner alignment, inner congruence. My movement teacher for 40 years, person who got me in my body, Gabrielle Roth, used to say, we're trizophrenic. We're not schizophrenic, we're trizophrenic. Our mind is thinking one thing, our emotions are completely doing another thing, and our body is doing another thing altogether. So we're out of alignment, we're out of sync. And this practice that I'm talking about, that we teach, is about inner body listening, whole body listening. So I listen with my body, not just with my ears and my mind, but with my body, so that I get this kind of alignment, and I see, oh, my body is feeling contracted. My emotion is fear. And I'm thinking that I can't do this, that I'm not good enough. Oh, now I'm suddenly in alignment. I'm not trying to put on a face to meet the faces. I'm not trying to feel something other than the fear that's coming up. I allow myself to feel it, and I can find it in my body. It's in my body. So I create more capacity, and I continue to do that. And not only that, it's infectious, because when I'm presencing myself and I'm fully in my body and feeling my emotions and I'm with you, you're going to feel that, because you don't have to tell me how you feel, because if I'm feeling, I know how you feel, because you show up in me as a wave. You're not out there, and I'm not over here in one sense. I mean, of course you are in time, but also in another continuum, time space continuum. You're occurring in my nervous system as a wave. Yeah, I see you as a particle out there, but you show up in my nervous system as a wave. Now, what's interesting about that is your ability to be able to grok me is limited by that narrative. So you can't see beyond the confines of your own interiority, which shapes how you are to me. If I'm an angry person, I see everybody else, or if I'm afraid a lot, I see people as dangerous. No matter how much I see you, there's still a sense of danger out there, because that's part of my story. People are dangerous, or I'm unlovable. You see people, you try to get people's love because you feel unlovable. But the more space you have, you can actually just be with people. So the simple way to say it is, awareness is the healer. And by increasing our awareness, we see the hidden patterns that are automatic and that are living us. So for the most part, we're being lived by our story. We're not living our life. And as we create inner space, we begin to recognize certain patterns of how I am with people. Somebody who's had a few relationships will appreciate this. You notice that, oh, I had this relationship, she's just like that. And then I had this relationship, and she was just like that. And then you go and you look 3 or 4 relationships, you go and, there's only one thing that's consistent in these relationships. That's me. Uh-oh, what's wrong with this story? So you kind of can recognize that. If you look and really tell the truth, you'll see these patterns. And we are attracted to people who will bring up these things. I always say, our neuroses are perfectly matched when we fall in love. We fall in love with someone that will bring up the exact things that we need to work on. And so that's how in relationship we create relational intimacy, because a powerful relationship is a relationship where I can see that, oh, I'm triggered. Instead of making it about you, I'm going to take a moment to look at the trigger, and I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to notice it. And between the triggering and the response, there's a space. I can choose to lie again and tell them, oh, I forgot about that. Or I can go, honey, I forgot. Sorry. And that opens up a whole new space in your relationship. And it comes out of our ability to be with stress. Life is not happening to us, it's happening in us. That's really important. Life is not happening to us, it's happening in us. And our nervous system has been designed over millions of years of evolution. Our nervous system has been designed to live, to heal. If you have a cut on your finger, it heals. If you pick at it and try to fix it and say, something's wrong with this, it's got a hole in my finger, I got to fix this finger, it'll never heal. It's the same way on the psyche. If you keep thinking something's wrong with you and you're trying to fix it, you're going to continue to feel like you're broken. But if you can just get, oh, here's some information that could help me grow, actually help the world grow, if I could settle down and actually be present with this and see, oh, what age is that? What's the story behind that? If this person that's yelling at me isn't triggering me, because it sure seems that he is, then what is it? And then I see, oh, there's an age, there's a feel to it. You know what? I remember my father always yelling at me, always yelling at me. I'm just re-experiencing my father. Let me go in and now open to this and see what I can learn about that. And so change occurs not when we're being what we want to be or what we think we should be, but it happens in this moment that whatever is occurring is what's supposed to be occurring. But we're always looking out here how it should be. So we never really heal what's actually present. And by presencing it, that's enough. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing broken. We're already whole and complete. And that trigger, that anxiety, that emotion is the very thing that keeps us from experiencing our wholeness. So we need to learn to love that. And that's a whole nother thing I talk about in the way of the mystic. But I'm now talking about our energy, because energy is movement, energy is information. It's the river of life flowing through you, through us, from our ancestors, this huge thousands of ancestors, all the way back through time, are all behind us. There's like this wind that's actually, if we would be present and recognize that, there's this wind that's pushing us, because you know what? Life wants to live. Life did not come together to die. Life came together to live. And so these are ways we get this information. We feel this river of life, and those experiences that got stuck in our body are energetic experience, and they show up as stress, as tension. Anywhere you have tension, stress, or numbness in your body, that's a frozen experience. That's something from the past that's in your body that gets stuck. And the tension diminishes our physical, our mental, our emotional, and our relational capacity. It reduces our sense of belonging. This whole thing about people feeling, I don't belong, that's kind of a crazy notion. Since you were born, you're here. What is it that says you don't belong? Of course you belong. But when we have these incidents of stress, and these incidents also of separation, because stress causes separation, then I say, I don't belong here. No, you've just created a story that says I'm separate, that I'm not connected. But in fact, you are connected. You've always been connected. And you have barriers to feeling and sensing and experiencing that connection. But there's space to move those experiences through your body. And there's ways to do that. Meditation, contemplation, taking time to reflect, presencing, zooming in on the inner world. These are ways to rejuvenate. These are ways to reclaim our essential energy and to create more energy by creating more inner spaciousness. So I don't have an easy pill. I'm sorry. I know people like, oh, when I used to do shamanic things, people would want do a soul retrieval so I'll get better. No, you do a soul retrieval, you find that part of your essence, and then you do the work. The work starts. So what I'm telling you is there's work to do. This is not something that just you're going to listen to this and you may have some ideas, but ideas don't heal. What heals is presence. What heals is intimacy with yourself and with others. So, another thing about meditation, some of you have been in my deep dive meditation or the mini meditation retreats that I've done. What happens is that when you begin to make space, and this is really important, I don't know how many of you are meditators, but many people quit meditating because they'll start and they'll go, they're all groovy and, sitting with a straight back and things are nice. And there's unicorns and rainbows and teddy bears and I'm feeling so relaxed. And then I do it for a week or two. And then all of a sudden, wild stallions, gargoyles that want to eat me, phantoms, remembering horrible stories. And we go, this meditation isn't working. I can't do this. And I quit. Well, it is working because you made more space for those things to be seen, to come up. So if you have a meditation practice, you need to first practice patience and recognize when something comes up, it means the nervous system has been signaled that it's safe for the frozen energy, the frozen history to rise up. And now I can look at it. Oh, look at that. Look what happened back there. That it was just too much. And I put it aside. But it's been there for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Now it's time in the evolution of life to do that. And this is not about individual healing, because you do this work and everyone around you will benefit. Not just your descendants, even your ancestors, because you're healing ancestral patterns. And many of those ancestral patterns have been through father, grandfather, great-grandfather, great, all the way back through time. And it's like, oh, I finally got the courage to turn around and say, this is your stuff, ancestors. I'm not carrying this anymore. And I open myself up and I do my work to heal my part of it. And you have your part, and it heals through the lineage, and it heals for your descendants, your children, and our children. So this is life's way of healing. That's it. In order to regulate myself, my emotions, my thoughts, my feelings, my experience in relationship, in order to regulate myself, I need to first feel myself. So the essence of this work that we do is to heal ourselves. It's good to see you guys here. No? Okay. So let's see, what time is it? Okay, I'm going to do a little bit longer meditation. So I want you to get comfortable with where you can feel, feel like you're intact, I guess is what I want to say, with a straight back spine. And one of the things I noticed that a lot of people do when they meditate is they meditate like this, with their head up. And that actually contracts the spine when you do that. It doesn't allow the light, the information from your soul to come into you. So I want to invite you to pull your chin in and raise the back of your head and then relax it. And feel how that pulls your spine up. And you don't have to keep it tense like that, but just at first, Kind of pull the chin in and pull the back of the head up, and then just let the shoulders go. Let your eyes go closed. And then just relax into your body. Just the ease of just being in a body, just sitting here. We're just sitting, feeling the weight of our body, feeling the feet on the floor, noticing the breath. Allowing yourself to elongate the out breath, and you'll begin to notice it helps to take you into your body. So you breathe in, you pause, and you release on the out breath. And just elongate that into the pause and feel how it takes you more deeply into the body. Yeah, beautiful. And just begin to get a sense of your body with your feet on the floor. See if you can feel the feet on the floor, the connection with the earth. You can sense whatever's happening in the feet. Feel the energy. And if you focus and really presence in, you can actually see into the feet in your inner eye. See the structure of the bones. It takes a little more practice. But just really get a sense of the interior of your body. Noticing the flow of energy. And just working your way through the body, the calves and the shin. Finding any place the energy is stuck or numb. That's important information. It's not nothing. Feeling into the knees, how they connect with the upper thigh and hamstrings. Keep going into the body. We tend to look in our mind's eye to the outside, but actually allow yourself to go right into the cellular experience of the body. The layers of tissue, the skin, the muscles, the tendons, the bones. How much can you actually witness of your inner body? Feeling the pelvic floor, how the legs connect to the upper body. Feeling the spine, tailbone, the curve of the spine. The stomach, the liver on the right, the spleen on the left, the kidneys. Just going up through the body. Feeling the lungs, diaphragm. Like you're searching to see, you're presencing what's there. Your shoulders. Using the breath to take you deeper and deeper into the body, the arms and hands. Just witnessing the face, the muscles in the face. Relaxing the jaw. And feeling that inner body. And then noticing just what's there and moving to the emotions. What emotions are you feeling? What's the fragrance of emotion? Fear, joy, sadness, grief, anger, guilt, shame. Maybe you can't feel the feelings. That's fine. That's information. Just notice that. Can you locate the emotions in the body? And then we just move on to notice the quality of the mind. Is it busy and grasping and trying to get a hold of something, or is it kind of still and just watching? And just notice that. And now that we've settled in a little bit in our body and our emotions, I want you to bring in an experience, a stressful or difficult, something that's hard that's happening in your life, or perhaps has happened recently. And just get a sense of that stressful moment. And just for a moment, take the word stressful off and ask yourself, what's actually the experience that's happening? When I think of this, what do I experience in my body, in my emotions, in my mind, my thoughts? That deeper experience that I've labeled as stressful. Notice if it's a one-off or it maybe relates to some other patterns in your life. And just try to be as precise in describing it, experiencing it, the body sensations, the emotions. Notice when I think of it, I feel expanded or contracted. Contracted. What does that feel like if I'm feeling contracted? How much do I feel grounded in my body when I'm thinking about this incident? Do I feel like I get lifted out of my body or cramped or spacious? And there's nothing to change, just bring some compassion to this difficult situation you're experiencing or have experienced. Just like, oh, this is how I feel. I'm contracted in my body. I feel tight. My mind is moving fast, perhaps, or it's blank. And I look and see what's the emotion. And I kind of look at the whole composition, my feeling grounded in the body, my emotional experience, the mind is like a composition. Maybe I feel a strong emotion, or maybe I feel numb. What am I feeling inside my body? Do I feel uprooted? Sometimes it feels like pressure in the mind or the chest. like I'm full, I'm overcharged. And when you look at that situation, what kind of feelings did it elicit? Anger, shame, guilt? Just seeing what's there. Can we just welcome all the feelings, all the sensations? Just say hello to what's going on in your body. Hello. I see you. I feel you. I'm not trying to get rid of you. I'm trying to know you. I'm trying to listen to you. I'm listening to you. What are you trying to show me? So I listen, I feel, I connect, I allow, I give space to. I allow the resistance to doing this. Because when we contract, we're trying to keep something from arising in our awareness, to hold something down. What could we be holding down? What's being resisted? Maybe not wanting to see some fear or shame or sadness or guilt or sexual energy. What's the what's happening inside in the inner world? Am I feeling overpowered? Not up to it, underpowered? Can I still be with the situation, just exploring it like a friend, like a portal? Say, oh, what's the teaching in this stressful, difficult, challenging situation? What's wanting to be seen that I haven't seen? And I listen to it. And I hold it as something that's very important teacher for me, for my life. I want to hear it. I want to explore it. I want to listen deeply. And notice if it's not a new occasion. I felt this before. Yeah, it's happened more in my life. This is not the first time. I've gotten angry like this before. I've been scared like this before. I've had this pain in my chest, this pressure before. And look at the situations. Is it part of a pattern? See if you can feel those moments, familiarity of the incident, like from a field of experience. A thread that can show you a pattern or a composition in my life. You can ask it, what age is it? When I experience myself, am I having this stress? Am I feeling like a grown-up? Or does this have kind of a childlike quality? What's the age of this? Are there any images that come up from a younger self? Just notice with compassion. Maybe I feel younger. Maybe I'm feeling something from the past I don't want to. This is my shadow stress. The past is calling me to adulthood. It's a voice, a message from the past. It's not a problem. It's a friend wanting to teach you something. It's not stress. It's a voice from the depth of my unconscious. And it's arising now. and I embrace it with presence, with my awareness. I know I'm probably witnessing a younger aspect of myself, a friend that protected me, a teacher. Maybe I felt too small to deal with the complexity of my parents' divorce or the situation. It was confusing. I shut down. Maybe this part of my life, it just feels too much. Am I ready to expand my vessel, my capacity, enlarge my ability to hold life, not to chase after life, to slow down and come back and just be with life as it is, not to be focused on getting somewhere else, but that this is the most important moment in your life, to connect with what's behind this thing we call stress. To feel the connection with the deeper river of life that life wants to live, that our ancestors are behind us saying, yes, this way, follow the river, follow the river. The river of pain, the river of motion, the river of feeling, the river of love, the river of lust, whatever the feeling is, follow the feeling. When you follow the feeling, you can hear the calling from the future. You can hear a voice. The future is now emerging. The more we complete these things, the clearer the future is. It's now. It's speaking to us, a higher level of consciousness. So I listen. I connect. I continue to bring myself back. I presence what's occurring in this moment right now. This difficulty, this stress has become a resource for me to open my instinct, my intuition, my creativity. I'm making a friend. Well, it's been a friend all along. I'm meeting an old friend. So this is connecting with the inner world where it all goes down. If we want to change anything in the outer world, we have to first change it in the inner world. We have to love what's there now and quit trying to be somewhere other than where we are. So just allow yourself to breathe in. Feel if maybe a little more space is available, maybe some insight, maybe a path that seems clearer to you now. Ah, this is what my life needs. This is what my life wants. Just to be here, to be grateful for the intelligence of the nervous system, to be grateful for the ancestors that are standing behind me, being grateful to life itself for the gift. And every stress and every anxiety is a gift. be held, to be loved, to be soothed and nourished, to give what you didn't get when you needed to be served, so, to be nurtured and held when you were a child. So imagine yourself giving yourself a big hug and accepting whatever came up in the meditation. And take a few more breaths. And when you're ready, let yourself come back.